Hello there, good evening. It is the start of a new week here on Starr today on Starr 103.5 FM. I am Tutuwa Danso. A listen to the stories making the headlines in this broadcast. And coming up in this broadcast, governing New Patriotic Party to form committee to investigate its disastrous performance in the December 7 election. A little later, the walls of the party in the Agona West constituency are deepening following the dismissal of 280 of their members there, including certain MP Cynthia Morrison.
We MC and also we are Vietnamese and now we MP. Then one can say often still will continue with the opposition. Until who say a party no, they were being in a winning position. Until listen, whoever, why shouldn't Bona would be? Would my dear we at a party no? And to say once or call us a year set party in the year. Then we have started and really just we have started now.
Tonight on Starr Today, we will analyze the way forward for the NPP, which is seeking to chart a new course for its future. Also, reopening of senior high schools in limbo as Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools vow not to begin academic work until all outstanding arrears are cleared. We'll hear from the Parent Teachers Association, who have slammed the Akufo-Addo-led government for hampering quality of education in the country.
But we have read over the years, government is not able to fulfill part of the bargain. So time in and time out, there are arrears here and there, causing a lot of harm to educational sector, hampering the quality of education, and difficult to see our world go through.
We will also gauge the thoughts of the Education Committee of Parliament shortly. And later in the bulletin, PwC staff urge underprivileged communities to reduce plastic waste ahead of the youth side. We have the details of this and many other stories making up this broadcast. Do stay.
Starr News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Zeps 95.9 FM in Zebila, Nissim 100.1 FM in Lamshao, MyStar Radio in the USA. Also live on Facebook on Starr 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Starr 103.5 FM. Starr News. Informed, in depth, in touch.
Thank you very much for your company this evening on the bulletin. It's also streaming live on Facebook on Starr 103.5 FM. I am Tutuwa Danso. We start off from the quarters of the ruling New Patriotic Party, and the party has revealed plans to establish an election review committee aimed at analyzing the factors behind its recent loss and charting a path for a more successful future. The committee, according to the national chairman of the party, Stephen Ayinsu's team, will explore a constitutional review for the process of parliamentary and presidential election. He engaged the media a short while ago.
As a party that was formed by individuals from all sectors of our society who are motivated by the ideals of development and freedom, we seek to grow the individual liberties of our people by growing a strong democracy. The party will, in the months of January 2025, set up an effective and objective election review committee to undertake a post-mortem into the outcome of the election. The committee will engage all party stakeholders and the general public on the factors and circumstances leading to our defeat. We have a firm belief that the work of the election review committee will enable our people to express their concerns and to bring out suggestions and reforms, changes, and other critical issues necessary to restructuring our party. One critical area that must occupy the attention of the Election Review Committee is the possible need for constitutional amendments and the restructuring of the party's internal decision-making processes, particularly on the mode of electing presidential, parliamentary candidates, and party executives, among others. Indeed, this is a difficult time for us as a party, but we are resilient people. We must, and we will rise again from this defeat.
That was the national chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Stephen Ayensuin team. Indicating that the party will form a committee to assess how they performed poorly in the just ended general election. We'll go over the phone lines and have a conversation on the back of that with a political analyst from the University of Cape Coast, Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere. Doc, thank you very much for your time this evening. We've heard from the New Patriotic Party, and they're seeking to form a committee to probe their disastrous performance in the December elections. From where you sit, is this the way to go?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me say good evening to your listeners. After the electoral defeat or the trouncing of the MPP on one of the sister stations, I proposed that it was too early for Dr. Bawumia to start speaking, because he was virtually suggesting to all of us that, the 2 million, the 2 million voters, who belong to the MPP did not come to vote. And I said that, while you may want to protect your political career by, suggesting among the MPP that A, B, C, and D might have gone wrong, that's the more reason why they got defeated. But I suggested that, look, they should go the approach of the NDC, why they set up a Professor Boche's, committee that went around throughout the nation, gathering information and data as to the cause of the defeat, that they suffered in 2016. Come 2020, they are able to have, the defeat that they suffered in 2016, created a hung parliament, and today they have, a victory, an unprecedented victory. And so that is the best way to go. So I'm happy that they have decided to go through that route.
So if I understand you clearly, the party has chosen the right path in its bid to create a committee to assess its defeat.
Yeah, certainly, because now when they go around and get this particular data, scientifically driven data, then they will be able to decide whether, it is Dr. Bawumia they will have to stick to, or they will have to do away with him, because Dr. Bawumia now remains the biggest burden of the MPP. Because to keep to him, some will say that means it is an adherence to the existing president. To depart, what are the dangers? So they will need to have proper, data to guide them to take that particular decision. Whether there is a need for a departure, an outright departure from him, or an adherence to him. And based upon that, they will be able to move forward. Apart from that, obviously, the data should be able to tell them that there are certain executives at the national level that deserve not to be there. And then, you come up with some kind of clean slate. I've also heard that they intend to have constitutional, reforms. Because if you look at the problem that the MPP faced, they conducted not less than 8 elections, internal elections to the national one. Now, when you do that, every level of election creates some kind of animosity within and without. Therefore, you are building up different animosities. And some of the things that you say may not in any way be erased when it comes to national elections. So, for example, if you look at the presidential primaries, you have the one that was to select 5, and then the one that was to select 1. That was unnecessary, because I'm very sure if they had not done that particular review some years back, and they had gone ahead with those who said they are interested, they want to contest, let them contest. And then whoever emerges. I'm not too sure with that Mr. Allen will have left the party because they all came to a realization that the establishment was on the side of one person. And that in itself created that kind of animosity among themselves. And that led to that kind of dissipation.
Absolutely. Now, would you suggest that the party follows in the suit of the NDC, where they contracted Kwesi Butchie to, go on a nationwide tour, as you had indicated earlier, to gather data to understand the reason they lost in the 2016 and 2020 elections? Would you suggest same for the New Patriotic Party?
Yes. They will need to take eminent people within the party. There are some people who are neither executives, who are neither in the front line, who people really respect and have a high regard for. Do not take people who have the known faces, right? Who are part of the destruction of the party to be members of this particular committee. Eminent people who are not tainted within the party, who may even be sympathizers of the party, so to speak. And I believe that is the best way to go. You need to get people who can easily gain acceptability, when they go around gathering that particular data.
Doug, let's now get to the specifics of this. You say that they should select eminent people to constitute the committee. Let's look at people like President Akufo-Addo and then former President John Agyekum Kufuor. Should these people be part of the committee formed to help the party assess why it's lost the election woefully?
They should rather stay behind. They should stay back. You see, maybe Dr. Baumia did not have what it took to lead the party to win the elections. The president has the lowest rating, approval rate. If you look at the Global Info Analytics data, he has the lowest, approval rate. So you did not need such a person to be in the front line of your campaign. So as for the president, is out. The only thing they can do is to solicit some views from him as a committee, not he becoming part of the committee. President Kufuor, I think that he's run his race, he's tired. I got surprised that every now and then they hold him, to take part in partisan activities. Because, until recently where, he voiced the view that Dr. Baumia is the best, blah, 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 the next, which I realized that was partisanly influenced, and it was not a statementally influenced kind of statement from the former president, somebody I highly respect, because he had gained the acceptability and the respect of all and sundry, including the NDC, the MPP itself, and other political parties. So there was no need for him to meddle in this affair. But I got the information that, look, that the journey was too tough for Dr. Baumia, and they needed to convince the Ashanti support base to come on board. That is even the main bane of the defeat of the MPP. The Ashanti support base feel disgruntled by the kinds of things that the current leadership, not the party, it's not as if they don't love their party, they love the party. But the current leadership, the crop of leadership that has led the MPP as of now, is something that they disgust them, to say the least. And so you cannot in any way ask President Akufo-Addo to be part of this particular, eminent people that I'm suggesting.
Now, let's take a look at the national executives of the New Patriotic Party. How would you assess their performance?
Well, their performance is that which, got enlightened and blazoned in the 2024 elections. That is their performance. You see, there's a difference between the party and the government, but there's a thin line between the two. If the party in government, if the party that gives birth to the party in government does not serve as a check on the party that is in government, then obviously the two of you will be lumped up in the distraction, story that we are talking about.
Would you suggest that in the next delegate congress they hold, should the executives be changed?
But that is the decision of the delegate. The delegate system itself, probably there's a need for some kind of reform. Because I've always said that they cannot go on this tangent because it will choke them. the monetary influence associated with the delegate system. As a democracy, we all have to have a relook and a review of it. That for me is something they will have to have a look. Then I cannot select those that they will want to clear. I mean, there are some people who, whenever they speak, people get irritated. You don't vote for such people to hold the fort of the party. Some, there's that display of, I don't want to be abusive, but a kind of bravado that they display in the public space is something that leaves smart to be desired. And you cannot in any way attract floating voters. That should always be the key. That should always be the key, when delegates are taking decisions as to which people they vote for. It is not always someone who is outrightly a partisan person that you think will do the work. No. You must always have someone who is partisan, right, who has held the fort for the party, but who can equally attract floating voters, because that is the key. That is the key in changing the fortunes in terms of the elections.
Now, let me take you back again to the Ashanti region. Tell me your assessment from where you sit, how you think that somebody like Chairman Wuntumi performed in that region.
It should be the first casualty. The MPP, as it was founded. I mean, if not a matter of money, why should such an upstart be the chairman of a place where you have your strongest support base? Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So he should be the first casualty. The rest, they can take the decision. And I know very well that he will try to contest again, but he will spend a lot of money, but he will lose.
Absolutely. And we're actually getting indications that he may want to contest as the national chairman of the party. What's your take on that?
My goodness. That would be the disaster of the century for the MPP. I mean, how? What does he bring on board? Is it that kind of boisterous display of his strength or the money?
Well, resources largely.
Resources. You see, the point is that they cannot discuss the reform, all right, the election, the cleansing of the MPP without equally looking into the NDC, their main opponent. The point is that they will also have to know the steps the NDC is taking, because definitely in some few years to come, the NDC will also be transitioning from Mahama era to a different era. Now, you need to monitor and calculate the strategy that your opponent is using. And this must equally inform the kind of people that you elect or select to run the affairs of the party.
Now, Prof, let's take the final question before you take leave of us. Now, the MPP has agreed to set up a committee to investigate why it lost the election, but people are also of the opinion that the party really did not lose the election. To the NDC. Their supporters just didn't vote. What do you make of these comments?
I think it is an oversimplification of the problem. I know some people who belong to the NDC that did not go and vote, as well as people who belong to the MPP that did not go and vote. Like, for example, someone that I met, who is a friend, is a manager of a hotel that I slept over the weekend. And he's an MPP. He told me he did just not go to vote. But I know some NDCs as well who did not go and vote. That is why I said that it's an oversimplification. Someone wants to protect his political career by putting out there that those 2 million people did not go and vote. What makes you think that they are your people? What makes you think that if they have even gone to vote, they will have voted for you? So you need to do proper introspection, gather the data, and start implementation of that particular data. Poco a poco. That, for me, is the best way to go. As I said earlier on, the main burden of the MPP now is Dr. Baumia, because they will have to do a lot of calculation. A lot of factors will have to be considered before they decide whether they should stick to him or they should go for somebody else. Because that is the risk that they will have to take. To depart will mean that you are creating an impression that you want a new kind of leadership. To to stay and stick to him, it's like you think that Ghanaians will forget the kind of mess they put them in within a twinkling of an eye. I don't think that will be very easy for them to answer now until they go around and gather the data that is necessary for such introspective analysis.
Absolutely, Prof. Thank you so much. I mean, Doc, it's an absolute pleasure. I've been engaging Dr. Jonathan Asante-Otre. He's a political analyst and a lecturer with the University of Cape Coast. Let's just stay with the New Patriotic Party and take you now to Agona West, where the NPP has expelled 280 of its members for supporting independent candidate Cynthia Mamle Morrison against the party's candidate. Now, the decision was made at an extended constituency executive committee held at Agona Swedru. The decision was unanimously taken by members at the meeting based on Article 3 Clause 9(1) of the party's constitution. Take a listen to them.
I'm say Eddie Kane, yet in Yankopon was say a year and a breed. Yay, the minting and see the Wagona West. But you say Edway Bia, what's the decision view of who take a heartbreaking. But who to take you as well? Na Wakoyama, a chief so was set a president days for. Say, and you'll be an I am time in power, be sure I be a next hour by your conference chairman, also before the small first steps. Ma, the be sanity, na impunity, I wa Agona West, ne a take shape. Then ya dance. Are there ever ye? They will deny a party authority show. What a party to the constitution. Who's a constitution making it clear? A year of an Article 37. Say whoever about the independent nature, what of your membership? And to know young yin, while shall we interview most soon? A dear course were going to West. A idea, a young young bomb bank, a starting yonder. Opposition be a way to a party in the morning. True party and Edward and Edward see because one short, the Antanaka NDC win away. One can be a chairman and answer we MC and answer we are Renamins and we MP. Then one can say of fun and still will continue with the opposition. Until who say a party, no, they were being in a winning position. Until listen, whoever, why shouldn't Bona would be? Would my dear we a party? And to say, well, once a walk call, say, you set a party in the year. Then we have started, and we leaders, we have to start it now.
You just heard sounds from Agona West, but let's take you to the Central Region now, where we have our correspondent Yao Buijan. Yao, thank you very much for joining us. You were there at the presser where 280 of the members of the New Patriotic Party in that constituency had to be expelled. What more can you report?
Oh yes. As I'm talking to you right now, a letter has also submitted to the regional secretariat of the party and the national secretaries of the NPP party, all in the name of sacking these 283 NPP members from the party in the Agona West constituency. And addressing the media, the chairman of the party in the constituency, Chairman Alhaji Tanko, made us understand that these supporters during the election time support or did a campaign for Cynthia Morrison, who contested as an independent candidate. So after the election, she defeated. Cynthia Morrison, and the NPP party also couldn't win the election. So the executive and the regional members did a meeting, and they concluded that these members, including Cynthia Morrison herself and the Central Regional Minister, has to be, expelled or sacked from the party. So as I'm talking to you right now, these 283 members, including the Central Regional Minister and the Cynthia Morrison herself, has been sacked from the NPP party.
Including the Central Regional Minister?
Yes, please. Including the Central, because according to them, the Central Regional Minister made a donation in the name of her foundation. But according to the party executives, they did their own investigations. They asked people, and those at the grassroots level and the party members who were at the villages made mention that the regional minister do sometimes went there and do campaign for this independent candidates.
Okay, I need some clarity. You say that the Central Regional Minister was making donations to whom?
To the MPP members in the name of a foundation. But according to the party executives, they did their own investigations. They went ground deep and asked those people. But later they go to know that the regional minister did a donation to them. But at the same time doing campaign for Cynthia Morrison because they suspected Cynthia Morrison is her family member. So that is why, in the name of doing donation, in the name of the party, at the same time doing a campaign for Cynthia Morrison. So this made them conclude that they will expect the regional minister, Cynthia Morrison herself, and some of the party members. Some are branch executives, and at the same time, also executives. We have been all expelled from the party.
Yawajan, thank you very much. He's our Central Regional correspondent, giving us up to speed on that development there, where we understand that over 280 party members of the New Patriotic Party have been expelled from the party, including Cynthia Mamili Morrison and the Central Regional Minister, for what they say is allegiance to the independent candidates as against their own party. You're still listening to Starr today. Let's take these messages from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Get ready for the ultimate celebration of African culture, the African Festival. 3 spectacular nights await you at the Accra International Conference Center. 2 electrifying plays by Latif Abubakar on the 28th. Don Quixote, Africa, the 29th of December. Ghana Must Go. And 30th December, the Afro Night concert featuring the legendary Yvonne Chaka Chaka. Experience more magic as you step into the den of history. Embrace adventure with Common Rise in the desert. Marvel at the iconic pyramid of Giza. Nelson Mandela Capture Site. Explore the food festival, a world of fun for the kids and more. Dial *714 *70# or visit theafricanfestival.com to join Africa's biggest culture night at 250 cities per day or 600 cities for 3 days. Hotline 0571 900 900. The African Festival is supported by EIB Network, powered by Globe Productions. The African Festival. Africa awaits you.
Starr today. First, fast, and credible.
You're welcome back from the break. This is still Starr today with me, Tutua Danso. Now from the Central region, let's head to the Western region, where the chairman for the National Media Commission, Yabwedu Ayebiafo, has lauded the efforts of the media in the Western region in covering the recently held general election. While speaking during an interactive media session at the GJA Press Center in Takrade, Yabwedu Ayebiafo attributed the calm atmosphere in the Western region to the professionalism of the media personnel in the region. He stated the nature of the outcome of the parliamentary election in the region could have been a trigger for tensions, but for the well-managed coverage provided pre and post the election by the Western media.
From our point, we are impressed about the way that the Western region has been calm. And we appreciate that it has been calm because the media tried to tame things. If the media had tried to be very, very violent, like people are doing, this region would still have been in turmoil. Because this region represents one of the most traumatic experiences in terms of total, particularly for the Sekande Takrade metropolis. This is the first time, since 1992, because 1992, the NPP did not contest in the elections. Since 1996, that the whole of the Sekande Takrade metropolis, apart from 2 constituencies, have completely gone NDC. It has never happened. And so it is something that will have triggered a lot of confusion, since people in the NPP who have always been in the majority will be shocked. And then the NDC people who have always been the minority are also shocked because they are surprised about the turn of events.
Yabwedu Ayebuafo added it has become expedient to engage the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, GIBA, to ensure the gains in the industry are well protected by championing the welfare of their employees.
The other thing for us also was to come and learn from you. as to what are the experiences that you went through. And at least some of the narrations that we had have convinced us that it is not out of nothing, that you also made some sacrifices. You could equally have exploited some minor developments and bloated it and said that there's confusion over here, there's confusion over there, because some beatings took place. But you managed it so effectively because these were isolated instances. But you did not present it as if that was what was happening. And that is one of the lessons that we have learned. And from here also, listen to some of the comments that came. We need to engage the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association in terms of their relationship with their workers, and see that at least, even though we cannot dictate to them what they ought to do, we can appeal to them to understand that when their workers are satisfied, they will get better output. If their workers are dissatisfied, they can cause their stations to collapse because they will bring one story, and that one story can destroy all whatever that they stand for. And
well, let's talk about Christmas now, because as the festive season approaches, children are being encouraged to take an active role in reducing plastic waste in their communities. With the increase in consumption during the Yuletide, the amount of single-use plastic waste tends to rise significantly. There are more details in this report. Local organizations are calling on young people to help spread awareness about the environmental impacts of plastic and to practice sustainable habits like using reusable bags, recycling, and reducing plastic consumption this Yuletide. This initiative aims to ensure that the holiday season is both joyful and eco-friendly, fostering a cleaner, greener environment for future generations. Leading professional services networks in the world, PwC, donated items to Chosen Children's Home in Dakoman and New Life Nungwa Children's Home in Nungwa. It stated that the gesture is part of the company's objective to always give back to society. Here is the human capital leader with PwC Ghana, Hayfren Abwaje, speaking after the presentation.
In this season of giving back to society, to put smiles, in the lives of these little children. And it's amazing that, of course, we're not operating in a vacuum, we're operating in a community. So in addition to they contributing to the welfare of the children, they also use the opportunity to educate them about issues of climate change and sustainability.
Meanwhile, founder of the New Life Nungwa Children's Home, Ni Afoteboche II, expressed gratitude to PwC for their kind gesture.
PwC has been a blessing to this home in time past, and we are happy they are here today too. And what they have done today is so amazing, and it will also help us in a long way. This home doesn't have sponsors by individuals and companies like this who come once in a while to support. We put all these pieces together and then we manage it from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. And we are grateful to every individual or church or anyone that has been a blessing to this home.
Beyond donations, the day was filled with joyful activities with the children. Let's talk about education now, because the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools has served notice to the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service to immediately settle outstanding arrears owed them. Otherwise, schools will not reopen on January 3, 2025 as scheduled. According to Charles, although the government has released funds to some schools, these disbursements have not fully addressed critical issues. Charles, in a statement, called on the government to settle all outstanding bills to enable them to run their schools effectively. My colleague Emmanuel Lijabeng joins me in the studio with a copy of the statement. Emmanuel, thank you very much for joining us. What is Charles saying?
Well, some 8-point letter, and the title for that particular is urgent request for release of all outstanding funds to schools And then Charles is referring to an earlier correspondence regarding the financial challenges facing schools across the country. And this was dated September 2024, and then a month earlier, 12 August 2024. What are they asking for? They are saying that while they acknowledge the recent disbursement of some funds to schools, they regret to inform the government, and that is to the Minister for Education, that this release has not fully addressed the critical financial needs of their institution. Specifically, all recurrent monies owed to schools remain unpaid. Arrears of perishable items are yet to be settled. The recent disbursement of funds appears to have excluded single track and day schools, leaving them facing significant financial constraints. And the funds for transporting food items from distribution centers to schools have not been released, creating logistical and financial burdens for school heads. Also, some schools have not received funds to cover essential utility bills, posing a serious threat to the smooth operations of schools. And so they are saying, given these outstanding financial obligations, they are strongly urging the Ghana Education Service to prioritize the immediate release of, and they have it in points as well, all outstanding recurrent monies, arrears of perishable items. They are saying it should take note of exclusion of boarding schools in recent disbursements. They are asking for funds to cover transportation costs for food items, funds to settle outstanding utility bills. They are believing that these funds are critical in the successful reopening of schools on January 3, 2025. They are serving formal notice that unless all outstanding monies are as stated above, are released to schools before the reopening date scheduled for 3rd January 2025, they will advise against the resumption of the academic calendar. And that is the statement from the Conference of Heads of our sister schools. As I mentioned earlier, it's some eight-pointer statement signed by the National Secretary, Primus Barrow. And then the point 8 is they are anticipating the swiftest response to these important issues and thanking the government through the Ministry of Education, the Ghana Education Service, for their attention on this particular matter.
That's if indeed they have actually paid attention. But thank you very much, Ita Bain, for that update there. Now, but the National Council of Parent Teachers Association says the posture of the government is hampering quality of education in the country. Irene Sam is the deputy PRO for the council and has been speaking to Star News.
We have also seen the report or the letter from Charles admonishing government to the needful in terms of the arrears that is owed. And the issue is that where from this arrears, all these arrears are government commitments towards the free senior high school policy, whereby some certain fees have been absorbed by government, but we have realized over the years government is not able to fulfill part of the bargain. So time in and time out, there are arrears here and there, causing a lot of harm to educational sector, hampering the quality of education. It's difficult to see our walls go through. And you see, currently we are even bedeviled with the WASI result that have been withheld because of lack of funds that government has to, reimburse to the YS. So all these are issues that we need to look at it again and see whether government is unable to commit himself or herself to this kind of regard. And fortunately for us we have the new government coming in place. So we are hoping that some of these issues will be addressed so that we can find amicable solutions to them thereof.
That was a deputy PRO for the council. Irene Sam outlining her displeasure with the issues happening with Charles. But we have her on the phone lines now. Irene, thank you very much for joining us. We understand that you're not happy with the posture of the government in settling arrears owed Charles. Why is that?
Yes, my dear. Good evening to your cherished listeners and viewers as well. So we as a council, we have really followed the free senior high school policy and have also identified the challenges that has come along with it. And one of such challenges happens to be government commitment, which is not forthcoming. And that's how come Charles, over a long time now, have now come out to bite a bit on the challenges confronting the free senior high school policy, which we know that will really, really, really come. It is something that we are really envisaging that it will come, because we have been hammering this fact for some time now that there's a need for us as a major stakeholder in education to see to it that some of these issues are addressed. But apparently, we have not received the necessary attention that is needed for us to solve this issue. So that's where we are now. So Charles has every right to complain about these challenges, but we are also not happy that they have sat down for a long time that they are now speaking up to, unveil some of these things that they are also confronting.
So you partly blame Charles for this development.
We not really blaming Charles, because we know that Charles is just part of the stakeholders actually in this kind of education. But you see, if something is happening and you as managers of education, you are feeling the whole pinch of it, you have every right to talk about it. But what have been seen is that over the years, Charles has not been coming out to speak up. They have been quiet over issues. Even when you go to them to seek information, they won't give it to you. They have been quiet over this year. Meanwhile, things are not going on well, and they can attest to that fact. So we are not blaming them, but we are saying that we are running a democratic system. Therefore, nothing should stop them from voicing out their concerns and their views about things that are hampering their line of work. That's the issue at stake now. But we blame government for not able to, commit to whatever that he has promised to be committed to, and that's how come Charles has to come out and bring out some of these difficulties that they are also encountering.
As a council, what information did you gather that you can say that attributed to Charles's long silence?
Well, it has been that they were running a closed system of education, whereby they don't want to speak anything evil or nothing bad should come out of the free senior high school policy. All that government wants to do is to politicize the whole system and say everything is ongoing, everything is well, therefore nobody should say anything bad about it. But we here as a council, we are not doing party politics. We speak the issues thereof. And these things are biting our students, our wards, who are in the middle of all this situation. So we have everyone talk about this issue. But we have seen that Charles's posture and then whatever that they have done over the years is to keep quiet because, well, Ministry of Education is their employer. Therefore, whatever you say, they can take you on. You are either removed, you are taken out of the system or whatever, which shouldn't be the case. We are in a democratic era. We have every right to view our concerns, no matter how it is. So we don't see this thing, in the good limelight at all. So we are happy that for a long time they have come out to view, bring out their concerns.
So why do you think they are speaking out now?
Well, perhaps because they see that a new dawn has come, and and the system, to the way it is being run right now, we are entering into the close of a whole year, and if things are not done well, we don't know what will happen. If this new government takes over, we don't know when funds will be released to cater for some of this. So they are very right to talk about this at this time. So this time is the right time for them to voice out this concern, because everything must be addressed before the close of the year. And our awards are going back on the 3rd of January, just about 2 weeks away. So they have all the concerns must come out. And we are pleading that the ears of Ministry of Education should be open to some of these concerns so that it can be really, really addressed amicably.
Great, but as you mentioned, 3rd January is just 2 weeks away, and Charles is very hell-bent on having these outstanding issues they have listed resolved. Other than that, they will not go to the classroom. As a council, what are you looking at doing?
Yeah, so all that we can do is to appeal to the ministry to do the needful so that it doesn't escalate to that angle. If Charles is biting now, it means that the situation has become so bad that they can no longer keep quiet over it. So they want to bite and bite hard. So we as a council, we are also biting hard on government that they should please do the needful so that our wards can confidently go back to school. They shouldn't forget the final years are also going on the 10th of January. Nothing should disrupt the academic calendar this time. We don't want that to happen. So they should please get a listening ear and then get the funds, and then whatever that they have to commit themselves, they should do it amicably.
Right, Irene, thank you very much. Irene Sam is a deputy PRO for the PTA Council, registering her displeasure with Charles's decision to not to return to the classroom or resume teaching and learning activities on January 3, 2025 as a result of some issues that they have raised. And let me just run you through the issues briefly. They are demanding that all current monies owed the schools remain, or these are the issues that they have outlined, that All recurrent monies owed to schools remain unpaid. Arrears for perishable items are yet to be settled. The recent disbursements of funds appears to have excluded single track and day schools, leaving them facing significant financial constraints. Funds for transporting food items from distributing centers to schools have not been released, and also creating logistical and financial burdens for the school heads. Finally, they say that some schools have not received funds to cover essential utility bills, posing a serious threat to the smooth operation of schools. And they are demanding that all outstanding recurrent monies, arrears for perishable items, that is exclusion of boarding schools in recent disbursements, funds to cover transportation costs for food items, and funds to settle outstanding utility bills are settled. That is what they are demanding. Until that is done, they will not resume teaching and learning on January 3, which is the scheduled date for the reopening of secondary schools across the country. We are trying to get a response from Parliament, and we are trying to raise Honorable Peter Nochukot, who is a member of Parliament for Akachi North, and also a ranking member of the Education Committee, for more in this conversation. As and when we do that, we'll bring you that conversation shortly.
Starr Today. First, fast, and credible.
It's still Starr Today. We're still staying on education this evening. So let's go over the phone lines now and engage Peter Notri Kotoy. He's a member of Parliament for the Akachi North constituency and also the ranking member for the Education Committee in Parliament. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. Now, Charles has vowed to halt reopening of schools in January next year over the outstanding arrears owed them. What do you make of this worrying development? Hello, sir. We are trying to reach Peter Notri Kotoy on the back of that. But before that, let's talk about something else. And the moderator of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, Right Reverend Dr. Abraham Nanao Pare Kwache, urged the president to quickly sign the impending Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill into law. This, he believes, will be the best gift to churches as they celebrate their bicentennial anniversary.
The work of these churches has shaped and sharpened the value system of our nations, and we shall not in any way go back. Where necessary, the Christian faith has helped sharpen our beliefs, our values, and practices as Africans. In some cases, we have managed to overcome some of the dehumanizing practices of the land in the 19th and the 20th century. And we are not ready to sacrifice this high ground of morality for anything. Your Excellency the President, on the 18th of December this year, the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, only this week, celebrated our 196th anniversary as a church. And all over the country, Presbyterians were excited with the fact that we are 196 years. On that same day, we received news that the Supreme Court had dismissed the suits that challenged the constitutionality of the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill. For us Presbyterians, having given the bill our support at the time when the church was led by my predecessor, we interpreted this as our birthday gift for this year. Your Excellency, make our joy complete. Make our joy complete. And we are confident that in these last few weeks, you will make our joy complete by giving assent to the bill so that it will become law in Ghana. We seek to preserve the values of the African people through the gospel, and we are confident, sir, that you will do so.
Let's return to the Central region, specifically Agona West, where I told you that the New Patriotic Party has expelled over 280 of its members for supporting the independent parliamentary candidate, Cynthia Mamile Morrison, against the party's candidate. Now, we have on the phone now Nana Kwame Eji, who is the Director of Research and Elections for that constituency. Thank you very much for your time this evening. Are these claims really true?
Thank you very much, Tutua. First of all, let me greet your listeners, and let me say that the claims are very true.
Hello, sir.
Hello, Tutua.
I think I missed that.
You asked whether the claims are very true. And I answered by saying that, yes, they are very true.
Absolutely. But what informed your decision to expel over 280 of your members?
Thank you very much. I think as we all know, politics is about numbers, and so if a political party in a constituency would take a decision like this, then we should all understand the extent to which the action has cost the party. And so the decision as communicated to the public was not taken by one person or even the constituency executives of the constituency. And so when you look at the composition for the meeting that took that unanimous decision, it comprised the founding members of the party, the district committee members, the Council of Elders and Patrons, as well as the constituency officers, and then the electoral area coordinators. And so this is the highest decision-making body of the constituency, and we can all understand where they are coming from. Let me explain to the public that it was a very critical decision to take, simply because these individuals have been in the party for some time now, and we have monitored their actions since 2012. In 2012, the NP for Agona West was for NPP. We lost the 2012 election because of the actions of some of these people. And in 2016, the same group of people worked against Honorable Cynthia Morrison and then worked against her in 2020. These are a group of people who have made up their mind. They are NPP members, and some of them are polling station officers. And so in every election, when the duly parliamentary candidate is elected, they will always go against the duly elected parliamentary candidate. And it has been consistent. That's what they do. And recently, or in 2016, they worked against Cynthia Morrison. In 2020, they worked against the same Cynthia Morrison. However, in 2024, they all went back to support Cynthia Morrison. So it tells you clearly that it is something they have planned, that they will be within the party delegates, hold party positions and cause trouble. That is the reason why the expanded constituency executive committee resolved that they should be expelled. Sometimes a lot of people may not understand the reason why you are expelling 280 people at the same time. But for us in Agona West, we know it will be in the best interest of the party.
I mean, since 2012, you say that these people have sort of been a thorn in the flesh of the party in that constituency. It could be that perhaps they had some grievances that you hadn't addressed. But did you try to find out from them the reason they were almost always against a parliamentary candidate from the NPP in that constituency?
Yes. So from 2012, what they do is that in every election year, they try and present a candidate as they try and present a parliamentary candidate or an aspirant, and for many reasons which I do not know on their part, their candidates always lose the elections, and once they lose the elections, they become dissatisfied with the duly elected candidate, and that has been the only reason which I know in this constituency. Was in 2012, in 2013, Honorable Cynthia Morrison and another candidate. So Cynthia Morrison won, the other one lost, and then they supported that. That's why we didn't get an independent candidate, so they supported the NDC candidate. In 2020, the same thing happened, and they supported the NDC candidate. We have a lot of evidence against them. And let me also say that the party had done so many things behind the scenes, trying to bring them on board, trying to massage the issues so that we will all work together as a team. But all their efforts have proved futile. And so that is why I said that it is a very critical decision that any political party would take. And we have weighed the pros and cons of the whole thing, and the composition of the meeting resolved that they should be expelled from the party, and that will be the best interest of the party.
Okay, help us understand the respective roles that these individuals played.
Yeah, so in 20, you mean the role they play in the party, or they played in the just ended election?
They played in contributing to the issues the party has in that constituency.
All right, so let me use the 2024 elections for instance. Honorable Cynthia Morrison contested as an independent candidate, and she was given the opportunity to contest as an aspirant. We had a fair elections, very transparent. The album used for the presidential constituency elections was the same album used for the parliamentary elections. And so we all had a very fair play, and Chris Arthur won the elections. And Cynthia Morrison didn't understand why Chris Arthur should win the elections and decided to contest as an independent candidate. And so these people were openly campaigning against the MPP duly elected candidate. And we as a party realized that they were even campaigning against the presidential candidate, because if indeed they were voting or campaigning for the presidential candidate, between Chris Arthur's votes and the presidential candidate, we should see a 7,000 difference, because Honorable Cynthia Morrison had 7,000 votes. We should see a 7,000 difference, but we saw a different thing. So it tells us that they did not even vote for the presidential candidates. And so why do you keep these people in the party to continue fomenting troubles and then causing problems? Consistently, they have never supported the duly elected candidate of the party.
Okay.
Consistently.
Now, we also understand that the Central Regional Minister has been expelled. What really did she do?
I think the communique we have brought on board, the Central Regional Minister's name isn't part. Among the 280 people, she's not part. In actual fact, some of these issues came up at the meeting, and investigations are underway, and in due course, we'll communicate to the public on her stance.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
The regional minister is a member of the party in Agona West. Because she was the former municipal chief executive before promoted to become the regional minister. And so she votes, and her membership is within Agona West.
Okay. Thank you very much for speaking to us. I've been engaging Nana Kwame J. He's the Director of Research and Elections for the Agona West constituency.
Starr today, first, fast, and credible.
Let's do business now. And Visa Ghana and GCB Ghana has intensified efforts of making digital payments accessible before, during, and after the festive season. Well, this collaboration is to support the country's digital economy and eliminate carrying huge sums of money during the season. Well, speaking at a brief ceremony here in Accra to launch the partnership, Country Manager for Visa Ghana, Francis Conan, said they are committed to enabling seamless and secure payments while addressing the diverse needs of different customer segments.
We, together with GCB, have joined force to really put a product which is really, responding to the needs of the GCB high-value customers, and Visa is bringing the technology to ensure that, we can offer the right product.
That was Fabrice Conan. But let's now take a listen to the Sina Kamagates, Executive Head and Retail Banking in GCB PLC.
More collaborations we'll do with Visa and other payment solution providers. And the reason is to put convenience at the doorsteps of the customers. We want to provide a situation where our customers would make web payment, would not have cash as part of their payment outlines. As a country, what we have been clamoring for is a cash-light or a cashless society. And this partnership brings that to the doorsteps of our customers. And so we want to assure our customers that as we go ahead, we'll put convenience on their doorsteps, we'll put banking in the palm, we'll put banking solutions right in the stairs of their halls. And so they should expect a lot more of these collaborations.
Let's head to the Eastern region now, where the issue of prison overcrowding continues to dominate discussions in Ghana, with many inmates incarcerated for minor offences due to their inability to pay court-imposed fines, while others due to delay or pre-detention trial. Now, a recent intervention by Golden Touch Foundation at the Koforidua prisons has brought renewed attention to this growing problem. The foundation paid fines for 2 inmates, Bekoy Alex, 27, and Isiel David, 42, who had been jailed for failing to pay fines for non-violent offences. Alex sentenced to 8 months for stealing 4 branches of palm fruits, could not afford the 3,600 fine, while Isiel, who was sentenced to 4 months after damaging his ex-wife's household items, struggled to pay fines and compensation, totaling 2,720 Ghana cedis. Now, the Eastern Regional Correspondent, Kojo Ansah, has the details in this report.
The recent intervention by the Golden Touch Foundation at the Koforidua prisons has brought renewed attention to this growing problem. The foundation paid fines of 2 inmates, Bekoy Alex, 27, and Isiel David, 42, who had been jailed for failing to pay fines for non-violent offences. Alex, sentenced to 8 years for stealing 4 bunches of palm fruits, could not afford the 3,600 fine. Similarly, Isiel, sentenced to 4 months after damaging ex-wife's household items, struggled to pay fines and compensation totaling 2,720 Ghana cedis.
Police station. And me call court. Me can 24 million. Country, it's in man beda. And I actually money fruits, some I bet you me blame, but I'm finding 36 million. And I'm discussing and I'm a
Both men had already served portions of their sentences when the foundation intervened to secure their release, enabling them to reunite with their families for Christmas.
So this is the reason why you came here today.
DSP Kwajo Boache, officer in charge of reception at the Koforidua prisons, commended intervention but highlighted the scale of the problem.
The prison can be anyone's second home at any point in time. I pray that members of the public will come and then assist the people. Some of them, their fines are even less than thousands of dollars. So if they can come and then come and take them out, it will really help decongest the prisons. As the festive season is coming, we wish and pray that a lot of people and NGOs will come and at least take one person out who has a fine to help decongest the prisons.
Ghana's prisons are designed to hold fewer inmates than they currently accommodate, leading to poor living conditions and increased pressure on limited infrastructure. Advocates, including Jonathan Osei Owusu, Executive Director of the Perfecter of Sentiment Pause Foundation, believe the passage of Community Service Bill could be a game changer.
So we still have congestions in our prisons. So the question is, what then are we doing or can we do as a state to reduce the overcrowding rate for convict prisoners who are also going up? Because day to day, crime is becoming dynamic and people are being sentenced. That is the reason. That is an issue which has brought to bear the Community Service Bill, which Pause Foundation, together with the judiciary, championed, and now it's currently with the Ministry of Interior and the Attorney General, where we were hoping that it could be passed. As we're talking with you, we have less than 2 weeks, and so we know that the Community Service Bill will not be passed because there can't be any magic. But we are admonishing all stakeholders and Ghanaians to advocate for us to have this, so that if we get the Community Service Bill, minor offenders, people with petty offenses, will be able to go and serve the state by sweeping the street and doing other communal labor, rather than sending them to prison, feeding them with 1 CD 80 pesos for 3 square meals a day, which is not adequate, and we having to spend more on the utilities for the upkeep of inmates.
For GH1 TV and Star FM, Kojo Ansa, Kofredia.
That was our Eastern Regional correspondent with that report there. Santue's second attempt at breaking the Guinness World Record of the longest singing marathon by an individual is struggling to pull fans, while the Heroes Park where she's stationed remains dejected with a handful of people popping in and out. This morning, she had been vacillating between local gospel, some highlife music, and Afrobeat. My colleague, Ivan Hidkut Fumador, is there monitoring the sing-a-thon and has come through with his reports. Well, we'll bring you details of that report in our subsequent broadcast, but that is how we wrap up Star today here on Star FM today. Thank you very much for your company. For more news updates, please visit starfm.com.gh. I'm Stuart Dunn. So this bulletin was produced by Echo Anan and Prince Isian. Joey and Emmanuel Donko made sure that it was possible on Facebook. Thank you very much. We are back tomorrow with more news updates. Have a good evening.